back to our first Coach's Corner of this season. I'm Cody Vetter, joined by head men's football coach Scott Benzel. Coach, thanks for being here. But before we get into our interview, let's look back at Saturday's contest.
Titans starting off the 2023 regular season in Grove City, a big game, and it starts off well with Ryan Gomes ripping off a 25-yard run. Gomes continuing to make plays for the Titans as he rips through Grove City's defense for a gain of 8 yards here. And once again, Gomes making plays for the Titans. He does crack that Grove City defense and get in, making the score 7-0 Westminster. Grove City, though, showing how good of a team they are. Joey Guida running it in over the Titans defense, tying the score 7-7. Despite the offenses having their moments, defense ruled this game. Grove City's defense coming up big, getting a big sack on Ty McGowan right here. The Westminster defense didn't shy away from their own plays, stuffing running back Clayton Parrish here and standing strong. Despite the defenses coming up big, Grove City able to make a huge play here. Scott Frazier in the end zone, putting the score at 14-7 in favor of the Wolverines. And the final score would end with Grove City beating Westminster by a score of 17-7.
Great highlights by Marcus Toker there, one of the best around. Coach, thanks for being here today. How are we doing?
We're doing fine, Cody. Thanks.
So I know you guys just had your first opening contest last Saturday, but I kind of want to bring it back a little bit and ask about this offseason. You know, what goes into the preparation when you guys come here midsummer, you know, kind of the dog days, it's 90 out, you're on that turf all day. What are you guys preparing for and how do you do it?
Yeah, I mean, every year you got to kind of re-energize and refocus, and so we've got a brand new group to kind of work on. We've had a lot of graduation hit. So we've got some new faces there, and even on the coaching staff, we had a significant amount of guys we're kind of replacing for there. So this offseason was the busiest summer I've had in probably my 20 years of coaching. There's a lot more work and preparation going into it, you know, but I thought we had a really good training camp. I thought the guys came in shape, ready to compete, and so very, very happy with our training camp, and we gelled. We only had 3 weeks to really, you know, kind of re-energize and refocus this group. But I'll tell you this, Cody, it was a good camp. There was unfortunately a couple of injuries. That's part of football, but feel good about it.
So you did mention you had a lot of graduates. You guys had the #1 defense last year, so I kind of want to ask, with a lot of those players gone, there's been a couple position changes. You know, for example, Matt Ransom moves to safety, was a slot receiver. What kind of goes into making those decisions on moving a guy on the other side of the ball?
Yeah, we recruit maybe differently. We don't recruit for a system. We try to recruit really what we say the best athletes available. So, you know, in that particular situation, you know, we approached Matt about, you know, trying to fill a vacancy in the safeties. Well, obviously, losing Bryce Thomas was a huge blow for us. We've lost 6 starters on our defense. So we're just trying to create a competition and some depth in those areas. And so all positions are on the table at that point. Now, you know, whether players want to move or not, that's it kind of gives you an indication of their thought in terms of the team. And some guys are a little reluctant and others aren't. Matt, in particular, was all for it. He just wants to help us win, and so that's great to have Matt, for example, come over.
And one more guy I got to ask about is Ty McGowan, quarterback. Obviously, he had some time last year due to Cole's injury, but now, you know, a sophomore young guy coming into a starting role. How do you prepare him for this season up ahead, the whole season at this time?
Yeah, experience is a great teacher, so there's not a lot we can do in regards to game day experience. Now, we go over situational football a lot with our guys in practice, but with Ty in particular, you know, we were fortunate he did get 2 games in. But he's a freshman, you know, that's the way I look at it. He's still really working through, you know, decision making. But what I know about Ty is he's a tremendous competitor. I only think you're going to see a better version of Ty week in and week out. As the season progresses, he's just going to get better and better.
Awesome. So I kind of want to hit on this Grove City game this past Saturday. I know you're really big on the run game. That's something we've discussed before. So what did they do to kind of keep that in check this weekend?
I don't necessarily think there was a lot that they did. It's just here's the reality that maybe people that don't maybe follow us closely. We started 2 true freshmen on the offensive line. We had a guy by the name of Matt Howard, who was a player for us, who had been out a year and a half due to injuries. Dante, our right tackle, was lost for the season a year ago. And then Dylan, we switched to a different position. So we had 5 basically brand new guys on the offensive line, yet we still ran the ball at times very, very well. So it's, there's this perception that we got stuffed a lot, and that's not necessarily true. We just, we took the air out of the ball a little bit because we had to. We got a brand new line, and they're going to be very, very good. Sometimes the challenge is how do you manage the game in the sense of, giving our guys the best chance to win. And I thought we did that. I think you take four plays away, and we're talking about maybe a Westminster victory versus a Grove City victory.
So now looking ahead, Teal this weekend, Saturday, how do you prepare for a team that has some recent struggles in the past year? Is it any different, or do you keep, foot on the gas the whole way through?
We're 0-1, so there's no overlooking anybody. There was mentioned that, well, Teal this, Teal that. Well, I look at us and I say we're an 0-1 football team. So we have to approach this game like they're, the best team on our schedule, which at this point they are. We have to get a win. They're a much improved football team. 14-0 against Case. Again, those that don't watch the game and watch the film don't see what I'm seeing. That's a team that competes. They have athletes. They are going to come in here ready to go, and we've got to be able to match it and exceed it.
So obviously this year you open up against Grove City, a PAC opponent. How important is it to get a good start here when you're only playing teams from the conference right now?
Yeah, it's a new experience for me. So new experience for everybody in the league. You have to ready to show up and ready to go. For us in the past, we played these very, very challenging opening games against, nationally ranked teams, but we also in the back of our mind knew it was going to help us for our conference. Now it's out the gate. Maybe playing a Grove City for the first game, from a scheduling standpoint, it's not necessarily who you play, but when you play them. But every game right now is important, and so, I kind of think it's, pretty cool. Makes the conference even that much more competitive.
Yeah. So when talking about Teal a little bit more, obviously they were shut out last week against Case, but they're looking a little bit better each time they get out there. So how do you prepare for an offense that did get shut out? What's your motive to your defense, the past few weeks?
If you watched Case Western, particularly their defensive line in their front, they're really good. They're very disruptive. They've got some ball players on that side. So I didn't, I'll have the perception of understanding that. But in terms of what does our defense need to do against Teal's such a multiple formation, multiple offense. They run so many different things. So for us this week, our emphasis was just get lined up, recognize what they're doing formationally and how they sort of attack you. If we can get lined up defensively and be in the right spots, then we're going to be fine.
So take me, through the week, kind of in the locker room, behind the scenes, stuff that people don't really get to see. Everyone sees you guys on game day, come out and perform, but how has the energy been? What's, the feeling in the locker room, the feeling in the workouts and practices?
That's my responsibility. I have to set the tone for how we react, whether we win or lose. Me, I'm a little bit more business-like, and that's been my approach for a long time. That's what's led me to be as successful as I've been. I hope our guys kind of feed off of that. But really, I'm trying to speak to our leaders on our football team. You need a collective effort. It can't be a coach-driven team. It has to be a player-led team. And so our players did a nice job. We had a nice meeting Sunday night to try to reemphasize, hey, look, every week's a season. This is just one game. We got to turn the page because nobody feels sorry for us, Cody. Every time Westminster comes and we play, everybody wants to beat us. And we've earned that reputation, but that takes a different approach. You got to be able to, when you get wins, move past them. When you get losses, move past them. And I think they've done a nice job with it this week.
Coach, I ask you this every single time I see you. I think you know what's coming. Can you dive in deep to your 3 keys of victory this weekend against Teal?
I mentioned one. We got to get lined up defensively. Again, multiple formations, so we got to understand where we're going to be. Offensively, I think we got to make some big plays. I think we have some big plays dialed up. I'm really encouraged by what I think we're going to be able to do. And then finally, we got to kick the ball. We got to kick the ball better. We got to kick it consistently. Our special teams was a little disappointing. And so that group has to step up because we put a lot of time and effort into it, and it's a group that has to perform.
And quickly, before we run out of time, I just kind of want to hit on the new coaching staff. How's it been working with those guys?
Yeah, it's been a challenge. You know, they're trying to get used to how I like to do things, and I'm trying to get used to what maybe they have. And so I do think change is good. I think it definitely re-energizes you. Heck, I was coaching offensive line in camp. You know, I haven't done that ever, right? And so just trying to help out anywhere I think that I can help. And so for me, it's been great because I've got to learn some different things. And these guys care. They want to be successful. And I really think, I honestly, Cody, think that we're going to be a team that's going to continue to get better.
Coach, unfortunately, that's all the time we have. Thanks for being here right back in the studio with me again. Coming up, Marcus Tilcar and Bryce Butler. Stay tuned here on Coach's Corner.
Welcome to the PAC Football Report covering games on September 9th. I'm Riley Lewis. This week we will take a quick look back at the opening weekend of the 2023 season in the President's Athletic Conference, while also previewing Week 2 contests this Saturday. The opening weekend of PAC action saw two-time conference champion Carnegie Mellon take its first step towards a third league crown with a 31-0 road blanking of Geneva. A battle of PAC heavyweights saw Grove City win a defensive struggle over Westminster 17-7. The game of the week was in Waynesburg, where a touchdown reception on 3rd and 15 in overtime lifted Allegheny over the host Yellow Jackets 39-36. Finally, Washington and Jefferson and Case Western also opened the campaign with shutout road wins, with the Presidents rolling past St. Vincent 50-0, 51-0, and the Spartans posting a 14-0 blanking at Teal. Bethany had the opening weekend bye. PAC Player of the Week honors for Week 1 went to senior Declan O'Brien from Allegheny on offense, sophomore linebacker Ben Bladel of Grove City on defense, and W&J senior kicker and punter Ricky Hunter on special teams. Earning PAC Newcomer of the Year laurels was Waynesburg freshman wideout kick returner Xavier Nelson. Week 2 features 5 conference matchups, with all kicking off at 1, with Case Western having the weekend off. 1-0 Carnegie Mellon looks for its 19th consecutive regular season win as the Tartans host 0-1 St. Vincent in their home opener at Gasling Stadium in Pittsburgh. CMU holds a 9-5-1 all-time advantage in games against the Bearcats, including the 30-12 win in Latrobe in 2022. Second-year Tartan mentor Ryan Larson talks about his team having targets on their back every week due to their recent success.
Yeah, I don't think it changes our attitude. To us, it still really is about our execution, our preparation, and what we're doing to prepare ourselves to be our best each week. We recognize and respect that everyone's going to give us their best, as they should. Why wouldn't we? The game should be played that way.
After having a bye week in the opening weekend, Bethany opens its 2023 campaign at home at Bison Stadium, hosting local rival 1-0 Washington and Jefferson. It's the 99th meeting between the programs in the series, dominated by the Presidents, who lead 77-21 all-time and having won 8 straight over the Bison, including a 50-7 win in Washington a year ago. Second-year Bethany head coach Brennan Robertson discusses how his program used the early bye to better prepare their young squad for the campaign.
The fact that we have so many young guys, so many first-year guys, we took it as an opportunity to basically have a dry run of a game week, just everything from that timing without actually having to play the game on Saturday. So I think it was a huge benefit with a bunch of young guys just being able to go through a week and get a little bit of a rhythm and a routine down.
Coming off a heartbreaking home loss to Allegheny last week, 0-1 Waynesburg remains home, hosting 1-0 Grove City at Wiley Stadium. It's the 59th all-time meeting in the series between the Presbyterian schools dating back to 1903. The Wolverines have won the last 4 games against the Yellow Jackets, including a 38-0 blanking in Grove City a year ago. Second-year Waynesburg head coach Cornelius Coleman saw plenty of positives for his program in the home opener despite the narrow defeat.
The notion that they understand how tough it is on any given Saturday to win, and that they can still put together a sense of resilient effort, and the notion to put us in place to try to win when the clocks hit 0, that's all that we honestly can ask for right now.
In other Week 2 action, 0-1 Geneva travels to Meadville to face 1-0 Allegheny at Furner Field. It's the 45th all-time meeting in an all-time series led by Geneva 23-17-4, including a 35-21 Geneva victory in Beaver Falls last season. Finally, 0-1 Teal travels to New Wilmington to face 0-1 Westminster at Bury Stadium. The teams will be meeting for the 80th time, dating back to 1894. Westminster has won the last 6 matchups, with the last Tomcat Gridiron win against the Titans being a 47-37 4-overtime classic in 2013. That's all for this edition of the PAC Football Report. Please log in to the conference website at www.pacathletics.org all season long for the latest news, scores, statistics, and other league information. You can follow us on social media via Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram. Links are available at the PAC websites. I'm Riley Lewis. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you at the stadium.
My name is RJ Scott, and today I'm here with DJ Yokley, founder, president, and CEO of Your Sports Network, also a former Westminster alumni. How you doing, DJ?
I'm well, man. Thanks for having me, RJ.
Today's a great day because, it's always a good time bringing in former alumni, but today I have a few questions for him, basically just, asking him why, he got his start, how he did get his start, and how he faced adversity. So to start off with, former Westminster Titan, how's it feel being back?
It's unbelievable. I mean, even pulling up on campus after, my gosh, almost 20 years of being graduated, you still get those chills, those goosebumps, and as one of the best college campuses in America, I think. And being able to finally put that education to use after going through a sales role and doing some production stuff, being able to be proud Westminster alum means a lot to me.
Of course. I love to hear that. And I know you're a former baseball player, so
Yes,
always good to have former athletes in there as well. Being an athlete myself, it's cool to see people, balance being an athlete and also broadcasting. But, so East Palestine, Ohio native, I see,
Yes,
that's pretty cool. Got to be resilient coming from there after everything that's happened, very tragic.
It's been wild.
Yeah, but so to start off with, what is YSN? Tell me all about that. I know it's a streaming platform, but it's got to be much deeper.
Yeah, so YSN stands for Your Sports Network. We started in 2017. As you said, I came from East Palestine, which is a small school that doesn't have a whole lot of paper or attention-grabbing headlines, things of that nature. So I always said, if I had a chance to buy a sports channel, that I would create something that would benefit the people in my town. Same thing with here at Westminster. It's a small school feel that you guys probably deserve a little bit more attention, across the board. So all of a sudden, like the Netflix era, the streaming era comes, and I'm sitting down coincidentally with one of the CMOs of Starbucks in Seattle, Washington, and he at Starbucks said, "Man, I wish we could go grassroots with advertising, to do something along that line instead of across the board." And a light bulb went off in my head. I'd wanted to get back into the sports field, and we just threw spaghetti at the wall, and it just happened to stick. And 7 years later, we have 68 high schools in Northeast Ohio, and one in Western Pennsylvania and Mohawk, and 20 different youth sports organizations, and we have over 9 million views this year. So
that's very interesting to say the least. I went on your website earlier to find a little bit more out about yourself and all that, and I saw the list of schools and just places that you guys cover. It's really incredible to see that. But so you said you met the guy from Starbucks, and that's really cool. That's weird how life brings you to places.
Right.
But so your influence was like we were saying earlier, streaming 5 years ago was laughed at. You know what I mean? But then you said COVID came along, and so pretty much was that your main influence to say the least, or was it something you always had in you? You were like, you know what, I'm going to change it up, go streaming, and just stick with it.
I was sitting in your seat not too long ago, or at least it feels like that. But the reality is I know this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to ask questions, build up players, coaches, communities through sports, and looking at it from a standpoint of ministry almost, from having the gift of God. So having the chance to look at streaming and figure it out, I've got a great partner that we share the company, and he's had 2 decades of experience in streaming and putting stuff together on the internet. I was just a pretty face, I think. Don't ask my wife, but it's one of those things where you put all the skills that I learned right here at Westminster to the test: sales, marketing, broadcasting, being able to multitask, being able to take some of the things that I never thought I actually learned here, and all of a sudden they come up in real-world experiences, and you build a company, and you take risks, and you get rewards. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm a huge believer in that risk and reward.
Yeah.
But so you started in COVID essentially, like, you know, how that all got started. There's a lot of adversity you probably faced in your life. So one of the main questions I had for you, which is one of my important questions, I'd say, how did you face adversity? There's a lot of young broadcasters coming up. There's going to be a lot of adversity. So how did you face yours?
Broadcasting is a lot like sales. Life's a lot like sales. You're going to hear no a lot more than you're going to hear yes. And there's a lot of people out there that don't want you to succeed, that are out there, and it's a competitive world. And you either got to sink or swim on your own. And one of the things that I was taught very early, not only in my household with my mom and my dad, but here, is you have to learn how to stand out, right? We spend 12 years of our life in high school trying to fit in and be like everybody else. In college, especially here, they teach you how to stand out, utilizing your strengths and strengthening your weaknesses. And that's one thing that if I could talk to anybody that's looking to go into broadcasting or in general, leaving the Westminster and leaving the nest and going out into the real world, you've got to understand who you are, your unique qualities, and being able to not only polish them, but to showcase them. And I think if you're a Titan, man, everybody's got a chance here from Westminster, because it's a great education.
Oh, it is. For being in such a small school, especially tucked away in Western PA, I'm from Maryland myself. I had no clue about this place, but being here after a year, it's a great environment, like you said. Great teachers, just success all around if you're willing to take it. But my next question leading into this is, what would be your why? Like, what's your why at the end of the day? Like, of course, you want to make money, you want to do it, but like, you're essentially giving a lot of people platforms to, grow with their streaming, their sports. You're giving a lot of people a voice, you know what I mean? So what's your why?
So there's a lot of whys that I have, and I think as you get older, you find those in different branches of a tree. My biggest why is my family. I want to be able to support them. I want a legacy for them after I'm gone. I lost my dad at a pretty early age, right after I graduated college. And, stuff starts going through your head of when people come to your funeral, what are they going to remember you for? So when we were trying to have kids, it wasn't looking good. Yeah. So you look at that and you say, okay, what am I going to be remembered for? If I got hit by a bus tomorrow, what are people going to think of DJ Yoakley, and how are they going to remember me? And now YSN's here. I'm even more happy to tell people that we're adopting 2 kids that I hope I'm remember more for them than YSN. But the why for me from the business side of things is I want every single student athlete that wants to go to the next level to have a chance, whether it's Division III, whether it's Division I, whether it's just being a bullpen catcher on a baseball team. I want them to have the opportunity to be seen and have a chance to put something on tape, go out there, make some connections, and go play at the next level and accomplish their dreams.
Of course, and that was a great way to conclude this interview, sir. It's a pleasure meeting you, DJ.
Awesome meeting you.
I really hope that YSN takes off, as it already is. I see your guys' website. You guys are doing great things, shows every day, and it's just great to see that, especially in Ohio. You're giving love to these places that are kind of tucked away on the map. So it's always a pleasure. Thank you guys once again for joining us. My name is RJ Scott, here with DJ Yoakley. And that's all for today, guys. Thank you.
If a natural disaster shows up at your doorstep, you can't just turn it away. That's why it's important to prepare for emergencies before they show up. Go to ready.gov/plan to find the tools and tips you need. And make a plan today.
Welcome back to Coach's Corner. I'm Marcus Tokar here with a defensive specialist on our team, and it's a privilege for me because it's someone who I go pretty far back with, even played football against you back in the day. But Bryce, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. So, diving into the season, obviously you guys just had your first pack contest with Grove City. But even before that, you're a local guy, you're coming back to camp, you've got a lot of new people coming in, a lot of different schemes. You're getting to the point now you're a leader, especially on the defense. In your opinion, how do you think camp went, and how do you think a lot of these new guys are adjusting to their positions?
I think camp went really well. Like Coach Bender was talking about, probably been the most crazy one we've had so far, especially with all the seniors leaving, a bunch of new guys coming in a new system, just trying to get them to get familiar with it, just to recognize it, because here we have a culture. So I feel that the camp went really well. A lot of the new guys they're learning very quickly. We went into that first game, wasn't a lot of experience at all compared to Grove City's starters coming back. So I think that even though we did end up losing the game, for some of those guys, for that to be a first game, I feel like they played very well.
Have you felt, and obviously we're still early in the season, but at this point, have you felt kind of more pressure to step up and be a leader compared to past seasons where you were a little bit younger under guys like, Bryce Thomas and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, definitely. Learning from those guys was the best thing that could happen to me. They did their role when I came in to lead me to be who I am now. So now it's just me taking it in and taking what they taught me and giving it to the younger guys. So the stuff I've learned ever since I've came in, it's helped me do that. Ever since we started the season this year, I feel like I'm more of a voice now. And even though even listening to the young guys, listening to like what I'm telling them, the advice I'm giving them, it means a lot. It kind of shows how I've grown over the years and the stuff I've taught over the years I've been here.
Okay, awesome. And obviously, like you guys said, you had a really good camp. First game against Grove City, obviously quite the defensive juggernaut, but we ended up on the wrong side of the scoreboard. From looking in as a player, where do you think things kind of went wrong, and what are we going to have to fix moving forward?
I think what it came down to was experience. They were more experienced than we were. If you look at it, last year with the great defense we had, they put up 17 points, and then you look at it this year, they scored 17 points again with the young defense we had. So, it goes to show a lot. I feel like, just like Coach Benzo was saying, that was our first game. There's still a lot more football to play. We'll take it week by week, and we'll get better.
Awesome. And then last question before moving forward to this week. But obviously you've seen both ways now. You guys are starting off with just a pack contest. But beforehand, a lot of times you'd start the season off against like a nationally ranked team, like Mount Union or something like that. Did you prefer that, a chance to kind of play a big, national contender in Division III, and then, going into the pack? Did you prefer that schedule, or do you like just going right into pack play right away?
Oh, with me, I just like playing football. I don't care who we're playing. I love playing those good, those nationally ranked teams. I feel like it's great competition, and it was like a great opener to get us started for our pack here. But it's different. It's not that way anymore. So we started off with a pack game, and it is what it is. I like it. It was still a big game for us. So I feel like we just have to look at every game like it's those nationally ranked teams. Whether it's those Mount Union teams or it's Grove City. I feel like we look at every week as it's a new opponent. It's the same game. We play the same way. You don't let off the break.
Absolutely, and teams from the pack often get into those national rankings too. But moving forward here, Bryce, one of my final questions to you: when you look at Teal after what happened with Grove City, how do you as a leader kind of keep the guys together, kind of keep them moving forward? Because obviously a loss like that, it's tough, but you gotta stay together and you gotta move forward. So how are you keeping hopes up, just keeping the vibes up going into Teal?
Oh yeah, of course. Just letting them know that was one game. They know we're a young group. We've emphasized it. It's just not letting off the break. Not looking at Teal as any other as a softer opponent. We'll look at them just as they were as Grove City. We're 0-1 just like they're 0-1. So they're gonna want it, and we're gonna want it too. So if that loss doesn't motivate these players to do better, it's just my job to emphasize to them like we should want to go in here and do what we have to do.
All right, and then my final question for you: what are you guys going to have to do technically to go into that game and get our first win of the season?
It's just doing our 111th. Everybody go out there doing their keys. Just don't make the same mistakes that we made last week. Learn from it. We've been in the film room. We've seen what we did wrong. We're correcting those currently. So just going over our game plan, sticking to it, practicing how we play, and we'll be fine.
Perfect. Once again, everybody, thank you for tuning in today to Coach's Corner. Bryce, thank you for sitting down with me. Good luck this weekend. We got a lot of good stuff coming for you this season on Coach's Corner. We'll see you next week. I'm Marcus Tokar.